my name is Annie Brundis, and this is my Cajita project showcase. So I want to start off by telling you about why I chose the vaporera for my base of the cajita. I decided to use this because it kind of goes back to this tradition in my family where we share our stories and learn more about our testimonios, sometimes over just the plate or sharing food together. And I want to go into, first of all, the first Tezcatlipoca, which is Quetzalcoatl, and I want to talk about different people who have been sources of precious knowledge for me. So on this ukulele, music being another way that we share our stories, I included a picture of my parents and then of two family members that passed away. I want to focus on this top one, which includes my uncle, and he taught me a lot about valuing ourselves and standing up for ourselves, which I included through the bougainvillea, which is a really beautiful and precious flower. However, it also needs nourishment and love in order to thrive and grow. And I also want to include it because it has these espinas, which represent is protection and resistance. And this kind of goes into this yarn painting that I created in a class with Dr. Cruz, and it's in honor of the different testimonials that my grandparents and my grandma shared with me about the different women and their acts of resistance, such as during the Mexican Revolution, and the different experiences that we had or that they also had with gender violence. And then moving on, another thing that I learned with Dr. Cruz was kind of navigating and going into and learning more about spirituality and different ways with curanderismo, which are really insignificant to me in a time where religion felt like a wound, which also reminds me of my grandma, which I wanted to represent through this taza de cedrón, which is a tea that has really helped me with my anxiety. But at the same time, something that goes along with these remedies are the consejos, and one of them being that we have to nurture both our body and our soul. And this has really helped me when I navigate my own wounds and my own healing. So moving on, I also want to go into the second, my professors who have taught me a lot, one of them being about community cultural wealth with Marcos Pizarro. And I included this little alebrije because to me it kind of represents seeing the magic in ourselves and our colorful and diverse personalities and our community cultural wealth overall. And then also Profe West has really helped me reconnect with my indigenous roots, and it has also really helped me value more my queer and feminine identity because I now see the value that it has in our indigenous background. The other part, going into the second Quetzalcoatl of critical self-reflection, a thing that kind of stands out overall would be gender and sexuality and the ways that these identities for me have been explored. And one of the people, or a figure that I would want to include is Frida Kahlo. She to me has been a way that I critically self-reflect on myself and also through other artists or poets. This is like a poetry book that has really helped me by a Chicana queer author. And then I also want to include this gift from my mom because she has been someone who has been very open-minded and open-hearted to me exploring these identities. So we kind of connect for our love for Frida, and this is like a gift that she got me from Mexico. And overall, I think these symbols kind of represent me kind of critically reflecting on the people who have supported me in that process. I also wanted to include, going back, another source of precious knowledge that I didn't really point out yet are the amistades, or the chosen family that we choose to let in. I have these cartitas from them to kind of symbolize them and represent them here. And then also another source, another poetry book that was gifted to me by an old friend. And then I also want to go into Xipetotec, which is the third Tezcatlipoca. Transformation to me is kind of rooted, first of all, in this idea of freedom dreaming, which was introduced to me by Marcos Pizarro in his class. I think the vulnerable and honest discussions that we have has really helped me to imagine a space that's more free and liberated from the gender and sexuality norms that we have in our society and in our culture as well. And one of the ways that I did this, I actually went ahead and included a mango because I wrote a poem in this class, in his class, that really for me was like envisioning a transformed society, and it's titled Mango specifically because of the words that I decided to write on here, on the vaporera. And a repeating line is sweet tender, and then golden like the sun. And I decided to write these words from the poem because they kind of represent the way in which my view of transformation is wishing that those who have hurt myself, my loved ones, and even others, how we also have to include them in this process of healing. And in a sense, I include the heart too here because it's their heart madurando, in a sense, to become sweet, tender, and golden like the sun. Another example would be a sunflower. There's this really, I think, important experience for me that happened in this class with Marcos, where one of the classmates, who is a father and a coach to a lot of other young men, young boys, and a football team, he talked about how he is redefining his masculinity, redefining fatherhood based on the experience that he had with his own father, and how he's choosing to do better, or to do or to be a better man, a better father for his daughter. And that to me is really significant in how we address like these societal concepts of femininity, masculinity, and like men and women. The other thing that I wanted to include was this painting that I made that is also a way of transformation for me, because it kind of represents like women's liberation and us owning our sexuality. And then I think lastly, but not least, I wanted to include these pins that represent the ways in which are my wills to act, the Huitzilopochtli. So this pin right here kind of represents the different ways in which right now I'm involved in different projects, or have been in the past, such as being a youth designer with Planned Parenthood, and creating like new sources for young Spanish-speaking students about sex education and like their health. And then another one would be the SJSU pin, the Spartan pin, because I think my education is really important as a way of practice, learning, and also growing and investing in these freedom dreams overall. I think the last one that I forgot to mention would be the heart on here, the eye in it. So this to me is kind of the third eye, and it's just envisioning all of these things and putting our heart, nuestro corazón al centro, at the center of everything that we do in these visions and in these dreams. So that has been my Cajita project. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.